Throughout his ministry, Jesus insisted that our life of faith in God the Father has to be lived out in community and be lived out differently. Would Jesus recognize our faith communities today as rooted in God and in gospel values? Deacon Phil here. Welcome back. In many of our parishes, we are happy if our Mass attendance is not declining too badly, if our parish has monthly coffee and donuts, and maybe an occasional spaghetti dinner, and if our buildings are not ready to be condemned. I would offer, though, that if we want our parishes to grow and thrive, if we want to live out the Great Commission to make disciples of all nations, that we need to create an environment of acceptance, of peace, forgiveness, and of love to attract others into our community. Why? Because Jesus told us to do just that. The status quo for us is just not good enough to get us growing again and live out the Great Commission. It may even be getting in the way of converting all to the gospel, as Pope Francis has written. We don't have to compete with Target and Macy's or youth athletics or the Italian or Irish American clubs, or even an online dating service to do this. We have something and someone that no one else has: Jesus. Can we imagine a world in which we live by gospel values, by Jesus' own words and deeds? Can we replace the rules of the secular world with the rules of gospel love? Can we look within to say yes to this way of living? Jesus calls each of us into relationship with himself and then calls us to mirror our relationship with him with one another. Jesus calls us to accept each other and then challenges us to be and do better. Jesus did not wait for people to believe fully and totally have their lives aligned with him before he welcomed them. He welcomed them and then walked with them. Conversion takes a lifetime of contact with Jesus. Come, follow me, Jesus says. Jesus calls us to defer to one another as well. He knew that rank and privilege could become a problem. And his response? You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, but it shall not be so among you. Rather, whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Jesus calls us to be generous with our material possessions. He knew that it is difficult to let go of what we have. He knew that we can define ourselves by our possessions. His response? If anyone wants to go to law with you over your tunic, hand him your cloak as well. Should anyone press you into service for 1 mile, go with him for 2 miles. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on the one who wants to borrow. Jesus calls us to forgive. He knew how often we hold on to our hurts as though they were gold. When Peter asks, Lord, if my brother sins against me, how often must I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Jesus responds, I say to you, not 7 times, but 77 times. I would offer that it goes even deeper, that we all have some level of quirkiness in our personalities, perhaps even some rough edges. Can we celebrate our differences and not push everyone into the same mold? Can we embrace our differences, in fact, patiently with each other, knowing that God has made us all? Jesus asks us to give of ourselves for one another. Can we be available when others need us, even when it is not convenient? Can we put other people's needs in our community first? Jesus tells us, "This is my commandment, love one another as I love you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Let me let you in on a little secret. If we can become a true community of disciples who act differently, as Jesus wanted us and wants us to act, we will indeed attract others more deeply into community, because in our souls we know that we need to be part of this kind of community. Not just because we have something tangible that others need, but because we have something that their souls know that they need. We are members of the Church of Jesus Christ, and the gates of hell will not stand against the church. I pray that we take Jesus' call seriously and personally, that we find ways to continue winning the world for Jesus through our own faith communities. Amen. If you appreciate these videos, click like and subscribe below. See you again soon.